Lesson 2. You can do it if you believe you can. The fundamentals of this lesson brings 25 years of research. We have discovered that fear is the chief reason for poverty and failure. We have discovered that the one who masters fear may march to success. The development of self-confidence starts with the elimination of this demon called fear. The demon that sits on your shoulder and whispers to you, "You can't do it. You are afraid to try. You are afraid of public opinion. You're afraid that you will fail. You are afraid you will not have the ability." This lesson on self-confidence will be your weapon to battle your own enemy, fear. Remember that these are the 6 basic fears which we have discussed in the introduction. 1. The fear of poverty. 2. The fear of old age. 3. The fear of criticism. 4. The fear of loss of love of someone. 5. The fear of ill health. 6. The fear of death. Let's examine the sources from where we inherited these fears. Physical and social heredity. There's a story in the book that all vegetation is eaten by another living such as an animal. Fish is eaten by animal. Through this evolution, humans may fear of being hunted by others. This example may be far-fetched, but it is logical in history. We can relate to our current times as being eaten through stress of being in debt from universities, mortgage loans, and other forms of debt. Remember in the previous section as we described that man does not eat another man's body, instead financially. Look at the interest you're paying in your debts and how you're being eaten financially. Social heredity is basically the knowledge obtained while growing. Whether that knowledge is true or false, it becomes the truth as they believe in it. The fear of poverty comes from one man eating another man financially. In current times, interest, loans, debt, or ways that you are being eaten financially. Society could properly be spelled society with a $sign because it is inseparably associated with the dollar mark. The fear of poverty have been proven through history and even through laws. How many laws that you know that protect the weaker man from the stronger? Take a step back and reflect on this question. The fear of old age. 2 reasons. First, that through of old age may bring poverty. And second, the teachings of a worse world after death unless he asks for forgiveness from his Lord. The fear of criticism. Some say this comes from the Bible, politics, or clubs that are created. To keep it simple, when society creates a norm, whether it be religious, political, or groups, if you don't fit into the categories which are the norm of society, you may fear criticism as you don't adapt, adjust, or blend in with others. The sense of belonging to society keeps individuals part of something larger. There are a few who cannot adapt to these beliefs that they grow up in which society targets. Bullies examples of kids being bullied in school for being different. If everyone is wearing a branded jacket, then you too will want that jacket, fearing of not being part of others. Another example being, not listening to the same genre of music as your friends can lead to criticism. This fear is part of everyone and has been in one form or another. Reflect on this fear, know it, understand it, and you will be well prepared for battle against this fear. The fear of loss of love of someone. This source comes from men stealing others' wives or girlfriends. All men are polygamous, according to authors' research. Jealousy is caused by the fear of loss of love of someone. This is one of the most painful of all of the 6 basic fears. The fear of death. To many, this is the worst fear. This fear most often comes from religious fanatism. Afraid of hell or committing sins. Donations must be given to churches and sins must be wiped by asking for forgiveness. There are leaders that put the fear of death into minds, and with that fear, that individual is controlled by its master. There's a story of a mother bird and her children in the nest. When a man approached the nest, the mother bird acted crippled and walked away. The little birds did not know to fear, so they just looked at each other and at the man. The man picked up the little bird and the bird did not fear. Then the man stepped away. The mother bird came back and screamed, such as giving a lesson to her children to fear the man. The man observed and came back again, noticing the little birds went into hiding. We humans do the same. We put fear into kids who never were born with fear. Those fears were adapted. We as adults are also placed in fear from how the media and society puts these fears into us. Control your fears and you will be in control of yourself. Another story the author tells is of a man who takes a little bird, which is a crow, and kept it as a pet. It used to always fly out in the morning and then came back before dark. One day it noticed its cousins, other crows, flying and chirping nearby on a tree. The pet crow observed and went to those crows. It talked and left with those crows and came back 2 hours later. The next day, it went out again and spoke to those crows for about another 10 minutes and then left with them and came back 2 days later. After that, the pet crow went out again to see those 2 crows and left with them, never returning. Social heredity has robbed the man of his pet. Social heredity plays a key in one's life and their decisions. A fox never goes after a skunk twice, the same bullfrog never eats the same bait twice, and dogs once feared of chickens will never attack it again. One's experience has a life-changing effect no matter if it's a person or an animal. Subconsciously, you place an idea and through auto-suggestion, those ideas become a reality. It's the same as a law of attraction. With those ideas, you bring similar minds closer to you or your goals closer. At 40 years old, a man begins to mature mentally. They see nature as is, but allowing his fear from society, which can blind a man who is developing. Don't ignore auto-suggestion. The author tells a couple different stories which leads to understand that without struggle, you are of no use. That struggle makes you stronger and more powerful with the experience you gained. The ones who come into this world born rich often does not know the meaning of struggle and fail to work hard to drive the same results they had inherited. It takes discipline and teachings to make generations of fortune run. Some parents work hard to make life easier for their kids, but this is the biggest handicap for their kids. Forced idleness is far worse than forced labor. The human mind is like an electric battery. It may be positive or negative, and self-confidence is a quality with which the mind is recharged and made positive. Read this creed. It is suggested that you read this creed to better yourself daily. Please ensure that you sign it. Self-confidence is a reasoning for most success. You are instructed to copy the following formula, sign it, and commit it to memory. Self-confidence formula. First, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, aggressive, and continuous action toward its attainment. Second, I realize that the dominating thoughts of my mind eventually reproduce themselves in outward, bodily action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my mind for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to be by creating a mental picture of this person and then transforming that picture into reality through practical service. Third, I know that through the principle of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of realizing it. Therefore, I shall devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of the factors, names in the 15 lessons of this reading course on the law of success. Fourth, I have clearly mapped out and written down a description of my definite purpose in life for the coming 5 years. I have set a price on my services for each of these 5 years, a price that I intend to earn and receive through strict application of the principle of efficient, satisfactory service which I will render in advance. Fifth, I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to me the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because I will serve them first. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude toward others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it out loud once a day with full faith that it will gradually influence my entire life so that I will become successful and a happy worker in my chosen field of endeavor. Before you sign your name to this formula, make sure that you intend to carry out its instructions. Habits are formed automatically, which control and direct our bodily activities, wherein may be found a thought that can be transformed into a powerful factor in the development of self-confidence. The thought is this: voluntarily and by force, if necessary, direct your efforts and your thoughts along a desired line until you have formed the habit that will lay hold of you and continue voluntarily to direct your efforts along the same line. The object in writing out and repeating your self-confidence formula makes you believe in yourself while embedded into your subconscious mind through the principle of habit. An example of habit: you learn to write by repeatedly directing the muscles of your arm and hand over certain outlines known as letters, until finally you form the habit of tracing these outlines. Now you write with ease and rapidity without tracing each letter slowly. Writing has become a habit with you. Self-confidence is a product of knowledge. Know yourself, know how much you know and how little, why you know it, and how you're going to use it. The author wraps up this section with this contentment: how we always believe that the grass is greener on the other side. Our desires never finish. After we acquire what we want, we always want more. That nice car, clothes, and always comparing ourselves with others. It's important to be happy, but what is more important is to continue to have desires, because the moment a man ceases to cherish the vision of his future achievements, he is through. Our power to acquire is always a decade or so behind our power to desire. If we catch up with the things we want, we usually no longer want it. It's the excitement of acquiring, and always have that excitement, desire, and keep moving